Welcome back to Talking to Teachers. I'm your host, Gavin McGott, and I'm here with theology teacher, Mr. Butler. So you've been a theology teacher at CBA for over 15 years. Why do you find it so rewarding to work with students at CBA?
Well, when I was going to college, I didn't know what I wanted to study, and I actually was gonna quit college. I didn't think it was for me. I was gonna be a police officer instead. I actually had a job in corrections that was lined up for me, and then I got into theology and philosophy and absolutely loved it. And it's just so happened that the year I was graduating with my master's from the University of Scranton, Father Koch, who was Dr. Koch then, who had taught here for 27 years, and now he's the pastor at St. Benedict's, had sent an email to the department at Scranton saying, is there any graduates who might be interested in a theology job, because we have one open here at CBA. And I was from Pennsylvania, so I didn't know anything about CBA. So I came for the interview, and it kind of changed the course of my life, and then I started teaching here, and I've been here ever since.
So what made you get into theology?
I just thought, my grandmother was very into her faith, and I went to, when I first went to college, I was going to play football at the school at Coming College, and the teacher there was amazing, Professor Knuth. I should probably write her an email, actually, how great she was. And she did this class, Old Testament Faith and History, and you went through the whole Old Testament, which it doesn't sound that exciting, but I just loved it. I was like, this is amazing. And then, I ended up breaking my ankle, so I transferred to the University of Scranton. I ended up going to Scranton, and I started, taking, once again, I was taking other courses, and then I'm like, well, I really like that theology course, so I went back into that, and then that's what kind of, kept me on that path towards eventually getting my bachelor's and my master's in theology, because I loved it. I loved talking about it, what is the good, the true, and the beautiful, and also I loved how that, overlapped into philosophy classes, so it was really the only thing I was very interested in. So,
can you give us some background on the history of the Thanksgiving food drive and how are students and faculty preparing for this year?
Okay, so it's been going on. Thanksgiving food drive has been going on since before I was here. Mr. Sunnig ran it, and so every year during Thanksgiving time, we try to get as much food as we can to donate to our local food pantries, because some of them are really small and are not taken care of by the larger food supply. You can get a lot from Fulfill, but we've always helped our smaller agencies. We had somebody come the other day from Earl Navy-based food pantry, which I didn't even know there was one there, and she's like, it's completely empty, it's bare, and they really need our help. So I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do. And this year we kind of started, we're pretty slow this year because I think the cost of food has went up so much. So hopefully we'll kick it into gear, and we'll start bringing some more items in to help these, our different agencies work with. We work with the Keyport Food Pantry. The crew team does a great job taking care of that, with a large collection at the end. We work with the Bridges at the Shore program, the Center in Asbury, the Mercy Center in Asbury, the People's Pantry in Asbury. And basically anybody who calls and says they need something, they'll email me, or sometimes I'll get a text. We just try to provide for them.
Yeah, so you touched up with the locations you have. Can you describe them, how we all get there and how the food contributes to the help?
Oh, great, yeah. So we had a LaSalle News trip on Tuesday. They're every Tuesday, so anybody's welcome to come. And we went to West Long Branch, and when we got there, they have a food pantry, and they every Tuesday and Saturday they give out to people in need. People are, it opens at 7 and we get there 3 o'clock, and people are already lined up for their food, because they really are, there's such a shortage. They're chronically hungry. They don't know where their next meal is going to come from. Are they going to starve to death? No, but they have to rely on the generosity of others to make sure that they can take care of their families and then have enough food to go get to work so that they can pay their rent. So we go to places like that, and we'll give to them, and we make all the bags. We put all the milk, egg, and cheese together. Then we set up all the tables, and then we just see people line up. And we honestly, because the trip's over at about 5 o'clock, their work starts at 7, but we set it all up for them. Or if we go to Asbury, you're in basically a big room, and people are coming in, some 5-year-old girls, 3-year-old girls with their families, and they're picking up all the basic necessities for the week, and they run that pantry every other week. So we kind of flip between going to West Long Branch and Asbury, but you get to, on the Asbury experience and West Long Branch, you get to see the people you're actually helping, and it's very, for me, I have a 5-year-old daughter, so to see a grandmother there with her 5-year-old daughter, come in there to just get snacks for the week for her to go to school. It really hits home.
It's awakening. So we know that you run the jiu-jitsu club here at CBA.
Yes.
What are some hobbies you do after school?
After school, taking care of the kids. I got 3 kids, so they're twins. I got twins and then a 5-year-old, so that takes up a lot of my time. But I like to run. I'm getting into running lately, and run, lift. I love to read, and jiu-jitsu. I make jiu-jitsu like once a week, so they're my favorite things to do.
Were you just like always a jiu-jitsu guy, or how'd that come to be?
No. So I got out when I left Homing and I moved back to Scranton. I was looking for something to do, and there was a sign that said jiu-jitsu, MMA. They made it really dramatic back then, so I was like, oh, I want to learn this, and I was kind of scared to go in. So I made myself go in, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is this stuff? And then I got into it, and it helped build self-confidence and got me into competing, and really it's been a very good outlet. It's a great emotional outlet, and it's so healthy because it teaches you humility, because you're literally the more you push yourself, the more you get humbled, because there's always somebody better. You know what I mean? It's something I think everybody should practice, because, when you learn how to walk around with humility, I think the world would be a much better place if everybody walked around that way.
Yeah. So who's your favorite author and why?
Well, I guess C.S. Lewis would be my favorite author, since I talk about him in class all the time.
That.
Basically every class, so it's become the off-script curriculum. I love him just because the first time I read him at the University of Scranton in the Screw Tape Letters, it was like, oh wow, I totally get this. This totally makes sense to me. The reasons, these simple reasons why that keep us from becoming the best version of ourselves. You can be this amazingly good and humble person, and then somebody says something and it plants a seed, and then that's all you think about, and that takes you right off course. And Lewis talks about that. He's basically, the author, and he's also the protagonist in every one of his stories. This is his spiritual life. This is his battle, and he wants to give this wisdom to others so that they can, find joy in their own lives. And how easy it is for you to just kind of go off the wrong path. It's so simple.
So finally, do you have any closing message for the CBA community on the final stretch of the Thanksgiving food drive? Well,
I'll be honest. It's as low as it's ever been. And I'm usually big on motivation. It's as low as it's ever been, and I think that's for a number of reasons. And I know how expensive food is, and there's a lot going on, but people are really in need. So I would say if you could just even go into your own cabinets, there's things that are not expired that you can donate that people can use, and I promise they will get to the right places. I have a number of people, trying to schedule pickups from here. They come right outside and they pick up the food, and then they take it to the pantry. So next week I have 2 scheduled, and I have enough food for one, but maybe not the other. So I would just encourage everybody to get involved. It's really all hands on deck. If everybody brings in, if everybody brought in 100 items, which I don't think is that much, we're looking at what, 860 school, that would make a tremendous difference. But it doesn't even have to be that much. It could just be 10 items. It could be whatever you have in your food pantries. So I would just encourage everybody to do that, because it really isn't about the number. It's about the people we're helping. I don't care if we hit the number per se. It's more about making sure that these, I can't imagine she was telling me, the lady at Earl was telling me that you have veterans coming because they can't afford to buy their food, and they're sending them away with nothing. So I think that's a travesty, and I think if we can help it, we should.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. It's great.
No problem,
great
definitely.
episode.
It was a far trip, but I'm proud and happy to be here.